Hello visuals, or welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Visual Guys Entertainment News with just me, Dan, this week. No Chris this week. I'm attending a wedding at the time of recording, literally a couple of hours time. So we went to go see Evil Dead, me and a couple of pals from work. And Chris wasn't able to do it because obviously work and all that kind of shit, and Thursday wasn't a great day for him, so hopefully you watch it soon, because I am going to do a spoiler-heavy review for Evil Dead Burn. I usually leave it a week, but next week's, by the time we roll around, we've got the Odyssey, and Chris wouldn't have seen it and stuff, so I thought let's just do it now. It's usually, I don't like to do, I usually, like I said, give it a week, so people can get out there and watch it and digest it themselves and stuff, because there are a few things to talk about in this film. But apart from that, that's the reason why we're doing it. You've just got me, so if you don't like Solo Dan videos, I do apologise. But if you do like them, go over to Spotify, because there is more Solo Dan podcast shenanigans in the form of Dan's Talking Crap over on Spotify. A link will not be in the description because I am a useless bastard. But, right, so what news have we got to quickly check out? We know there's a new Dune trailer. I'm still not the biggest Dune guy. It's visually beautiful, and it's a somewhat decent story to follow. The performances, though, are out of this world. They're amazing. The stars inside of these films are amazing. It's just that sort of genre doesn't massively get me. I'm not huge on whatever genre it is. Unless it's, well, is Star Wars in the same sort of genre? No, I don't think it is. It could be. I don't know. Weird space politics. No, yeah, space politics is definitely part of Star Wars. But anyway, sorry, we do have a new Dune trailer. We are very, very close to the release of Spider-Man. So excited for that. Any other quick entertainment shit before we get on with Evil Dead Burn? I don't think so. The trailer for I saw the trailer again for the Ice Cream Man. Is it just called Ice Cream Man? Before we watch Evil Dead Burn, I can't wait for that. It looks so much fucking fun. It looks goofy and silly and over the top. I am very much looking forward to that. It's like Weapons on steroids, because instead of the kids just being in a little basement, they're just out there on the streets, just tearing people apart and eating brains and scooping them up like it's ice cream and putting it in a little cone. I am very much looking forward to that. And it looks like it's going to be just a sheer gore fest. Very much like Evil Dead Burn. That was a gore fest, but we'll get to that in a sec. What else have we got? X-Men 97 continues to be fucking awesome. That episode 4, spoiler alert here, where what happened to Magneto was fucking just awesome. The season 1 of this was brilliant, and this was great. And the end credit scene as well, with Wolverine meeting up briefly with Captain America and Black Widow. It's such a fun and awesome show. I love it so much. Obviously, we know that From is done dusted. Apparently, there's 2 more episodes of Widow's Bay that have popped up. I don't know if they're including like the CCTV sort of one, like there was like 50 minutes of just camera footage of what people were getting to up on the island and stuff. But I haven't seen them yet. Obviously, I don't have Apple TV. I'm watching it constantly. So if there is, let us know in the comments below, because I'll have to try and sort that out straight away. Maybe if I get a Apple subscription for just a week. It's fucking Widow's Bay. You will hear about it at the end of the year when we do our list. Very much excited. Did I mention that I was doing... Well, this was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? What the fuck's it called? The retirement place. Stranger Things. But old people. What the fuck's it called? Anyway, that was all done dusted. I'm just bringing it up, I think, actually, because one of the lads at work's just started it, and he said he's been massively enjoying it, but he's like halfway through, so we couldn't talk too much on it. But that's a really great... What the hell? Why can't I fucking think what it's called? I'm a fucking idiot. But anyway, yeah, should we just jump straight into it then? Because, like I said, there isn't much shit popping out of my head. Usually, I would like to have my phone scrolling, but obviously I'm recording on my phone. It's always a nightmare as well, because when I want Chris to Google something, he never seems to Google it. He's like the worst Jamie in the world, when we sat there going, oh, who's this? Or what's that? Or when's this coming out? And he's like, I don't know. Or when he Googles stuff, I don't know how he Googles it. We never find the information ever. It's mental. So obviously, I can't sit and Google or quickly scan through or look for anything. Something's going to pop into my head the second we're done. But anyway, Evil Dead Burn. We are going to go spoiler heavy. Here's your warnings. 3, 2, 1. Right, Evil Dead Burn. Straight away, I'm going to give it my score, an 8 out of 10. Now, the reason why it wouldn't be a 10 out of 10 is the horror factor. Now, the Evil Deads, for me, haven't necessarily been the most scariest of franchises, but there's always been a bit of scare to them. Evil Dead Rise, I was creeped out quite a few times during that film. The original, I was creeped out quite a lot. Yes, it went down the weird, wacky comedy route, even during the show with we had like butt and semen stuff and whatnot in the show, but The newer ones, especially with Evil Dead Rise, I thought, okay, we're back to the creepy minging, what the fuck is going on? To then this was just mostly for the gore. Now, I could be wrong in saying this. I want to say that this director did that was it? I'm sure it was a French. Well, he must be French. There's a lot of French shenanigans happening in the film. He did like a spider film, which was quite gory. I did watch that. I can't remember what the fuck that was called, but that was quite fun. This lad who gets like exotic animals, gets an exotic spider, takes it home, it gets out, and then babies come from it. They all get big really quick, and havoc ensues. Anyway, the overall story of this one is the Deadites are lurking around because they want to get to this family who is the descendants of this lad. I can't remember if the lad's tied completely into the originals or whatnot, but it was a name that sounded familiar. But has a lot of the infos on the Deadites and the weapons that could kill them and all this kind of shit. So they're trying to make this way to this family so they can tear them down, find like the weapons that can be used to kill them and basically get rid of them. So we're introduced to a very cool, and I say this film wasn't creepy, this was creepy. A nice scene at the start where there's these two lads fishing. They show the little lads get away. One's like, don't go speak to your bird. And he's like, no, I'm going to go speak to a bird. He fucks off for a bit. And he's sat there fishing. He gets dragged into the water. And then he gets all kind of fucked up and shit because there's a deadite in there. And then his mate comes back. He comes out of the boat, and then he just sees like a head sort of floating out of the water, and it comes back under, and it is actually quite creepy. And then somehow the deadite makes the water around him boil, and he burns to death. The deadite then carries on and then gets hit by this car. And it turns out inside this car is a character called Will, who was the grandson of this lad who had all the information. Shit. Any hardcore Evil Dead fans, let me know in the comments below, or fill in any of the blanks of the peoples and characters and shit like that, because my knowledge of the Evil Dead lore isn't fucking fantastic. So you can hopefully fill in the blanks. Because they want to get him, they want to take over his body, and they want to get back to this reunion so they can, find the dagger and all this kind of shit. But we find out that this Will is married to Alice, this French girl, who is a MVP of the film. She turns into a legit badass towards the end, just fucking deadites up. I think they're all deadites anyway, aren't they? When they're possessed, they're deadites, aren't they? I think they are. She turns into a badass, but it turns out as well that he was a bit of a shit husband, a bit abusive and stuff. We do see Will, Alice, Joseph, his brother, and his wife, Talia. I can't remember what it is. Well, it's Talia. I literally watch it last night. Definitely starts with a T. Maybe it's like Tabitha. No. And there's a little bit about arguing back and forward, and then you find that he storms off after this argument, and you find out that he's the car that hit the deadite that stepped out on the street after the fishing accident, because the deadite just waits there on the side of the road for him to come specifically, and then they do the spell that and then he gets taken over. Car sets on fire. Then they go to have a funeral. So Alice is reunited with his parents, Susan and Ed's parents. They have the funeral. The dad asks to see the boy for a while. Because there's a few weird comedy moments as well, and they're not. I don't mean weird as in like why they're in there. They do fit in, but there's a couple of moments where you're like, what the fuck? But there's this guy who works at the funeral place. He's about to cremate Will. Dad knocks on the door. He tries to see him for a bit, but then it turns out he unleashes a possessed Will whose body's just charred and burnt up. And you don't really get to see what Will looks like till the very end as well, what his body looks like now, when all the house is engulfed in flames. And then takes over the dad. They go back to the house, and the dad just slowly starts to lose it. He's kicking off at Joseph for like, oh, you let this house get run down, all this kind of shit. And they're having this dinner scene. There's a few moments as well, and I will say in this film, the dinner sequence was really great and really intense. Then we have like a fight between Joseph, his missus, his wife, and the dad, Edgar. I think it was Edgar, the dad. They're having a fight in the car, and there's some great moments. There's some, back and forward, and some great use of the camera work and shit like that. And it was very intense. And then we have another great moment of like when the Deadites first get in the house, and these back and forwards and these better dialogues and shit. Like a moment where they're all pushing each other back and forward, and the camera goes up. Remember, like in John Wick, was it 4, where he's going through the house and clearing out rooms, and the camera's just at the top. We kind of like a mini one of them, which was great. See, visually, this film looked absolutely awesome. We even get a great moment of watching the dad just sort of randomly keep shooting himself in front of the family. They're like, what the fuck? And it's crazy as well. There is actually a disgusting bit, which I'll get to in a sec. But anyway, this dinner sequence happens, and that's when it all starts to really go mental. Alice finds the dad trying to kill himself. When they go upstairs, they have this dinner. He starts to flip out. You know, Alice, where's your wedding ring and all this kind of shit. The dog sort of growling at him because it knows something's up. Unfortunately, the dog gets stabbed quite a few times and dies, which was a horror. There's so much gore in this film. Not once did I go, oh, ah, you know, I'm giggling away, but like, oh, what the hell? Because I'm there for a weird, fun time. When I'm with the dog, no, thank you. Can we stop that, please? It was disgusting. And we see the dog die quite a few times, to be fair, actually, because it gets took over as well. And that gets stabbed again at the end and shit. And it gets stabbed in the little shed bit as well. Fucking hell, there's loads. But anyway, so they drag the dad away. They think we need to get to hospital, but then he ends up killing Joseph's wife, Taya. I can't remember her name. Ends up killing his wife. Very gorily. She loses her finger. She gets like the top of the seat put through her cheek and her neck and that. Joseph eventually runs away. Kind of just leaves his missus a little bit cowardly, but we do find out that he's a bit of a cowardly character. Confrontation isn't his thing. But then as soon as he gets back, we've just found out all the stuff that's happened with the dog and all this kind of shit. The dog sort of coming back, and Susan and Alice together. Alice is all shook up and she's like, what's the matter? Then Joseph walks in, she's like, what's the matter? Then they get a knock at the door and it's Joseph's wife, and they let her in and she starts to drink fucking candle wax and all this shit, just proving, you know, how fucking mental and fucked up and weird that she is. And we get some fun dialogue again, because the Deadites are obviously always taking the piss. Like when Will's burning to death at the start, the Deadites, like the head of the Deadites, just laughing and all this kind of stuff. And then it's just like a sort of normal, ish kind of Evil Dead film. After this, it's back and forth with the Deadites, more people are getting possessed. Eventually, everybody's possessed by Alice, and Alice kind of has to take everybody out. She's being told to look through the dagger and for the weapons and shit. There's a great moment because her and her mother-in-law don't really get on, but she saves her mother-in-law from the grandma. Because the grandma's been taken over in a quite a creepy. I'm saying it wasn't scary, but there were actually a few creepy moments, and I'm reliving it in my head. But she like locked her in the bathroom with her, and eventually she does turn. They have a use of this stair chair with the grandma as well. She got him down the stairs. It's a great moment where eventually the grandma's been took over. And she straps her to this chair and stabs her in the eye, and she's sort of just getting dragged down the stairs, staring at her. She does eventually get away as well, because there is 2 end credit scenes. One where we revisit the girlie from the last film, the main villain, the main Deadite, and we see where the grandma's still alive, and she just crawling along the street, and some girl tries to help her, and she scratches her leg, and she's obviously going to possess her or whatever. And the grandma as well. I'm doing a lot of rambling back and forth here, aren't I? The grandma herself. Was when she comes get taken over, because the Deadite puts her false teeth in her mouth and then puts it in her mouth, and obviously they've just exchanged like saliva or DNA or whatever. She sort of like floats up with the blanket on her face, and it's like, oh, that's pure minging. But yeah, sorry, Alice then has to just sort of like 1v fucking 5 of everybody. Joseph's getting it. She's stabbing him loads of different knives. And he's like, wrong one. Stab again, wrong one. Then eventually it is the right one. Right one. Fuck me, I really can't speak, can I? And then Alice eventually makes it out, but then Will, because he keeps saying Will's on his way. Will does rock up, and it was actually a great moment, quick side tangent as well, about where Alice proves to Susan that her son wasn't this like golden, amazing boy that everyone thought he was. She shows her these scars that he's got from where they had a fight in the kitchen, and it's like some hot water. He hit her with some hot water or some boiling water or whatever. She's like, oh, your son wasn't really this. He was actually a fucking prick and all this kind of shit. And everything you're getting now, you deserve and stuff. You do start to really feel bad for Alice during the event of this film, because she's fucking awesome. It's great watching her just kick ass towards the end. But Will does rock up when all the other Deadites are dead. We had a really cool little rooftop moment, because the way they move in this, the Deadites, is fucking awesome. I hope I got it there. I am using Deadites right. I'm sure they are all Deadites once they're possessed. But eventually she gets them, stops them, she gets away, kills the dog one more time, and then she follows Will follows her to like a construction site, and she eventually ends him there with a few back and forward moments and stuff like that. But yeah, massively enjoyable, a huge gore fest. Not the most scary film, but a huge gore fest. So if you like that, then yeah, that's how you know I'm a psycho, because I'm gutted about the dog, but the humans getting stabbed in. Like, we get a moment where Alice gets a pen stabbed in her ear, and you can kind of hear the ringing and shit like that, and the doo, and she has to like pull it out and shit, and I'm just like, oh, because I'm a fucking weirdo. But it comes to the animal, no thank you. But yeah, anyway, visuals, we'll leave it there. Sorry if that felt a little bit rushed through. Like I said, I've got a wedding to attend in a couple of hours' time. So I need to have another quick shower because I'm very slimy again already. But yeah, Evil Dead Burn, 8 out of 10. I just wish it was a little bit more terrifying. And towards the end, this isn't a fault of theirs because there's only so many ways you could have done it. I still feel a little bit let down by end reveals of demons or ghosts or monsters and shit like that. I can remember watching Smile for the first time. Absolutely loving it. But then seeing the actual reveal felt a little bit underwhelmed. Not to say that it's not creepy and minging, because obviously it is horrible to look at and shit like that. But like at one moment when we see like the big Marilyn Manson version of it, you're like, okay, whatever. I know that was just like it's Thingy's mum on steroids, but kind of like whatever you can imagine in your head is a lot more scary. So when we see Will, he's just sort of burnt up. It kind of looks a little bit like the Mummy when he's like half resurrected in the original Mummy film, but a bit more burnt. It's kind of what it looks like. So he's not mega scary. Don't get me wrong, if he was in front of me, I'd probably be shit myself. But Alice is the true MVP of this. We do get a little chainsaw nod as well, which is great. So Ash Williams' memory, or his, I know he's not dead, but well, I'm pretty sure he's not dead. His character, you know, the things that connect close to him are still alive in this universe, which is great because somebody in the audience towards the right of us actually celebrate as well. And I will say as well, I ordered free seats, so I booked free seats, and then 2 people booked right next to us in a relatively empty screen. I think there's maybe about 20 people in there, and I think it was the 2 girls who come in and looked up and like, oh, they looked as if it's like these boys are in our seats, but they booked the tickets right next to us, and I'm thinking, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you leave at least a gap? You're like, surely you don't want to sit next to somebody you don't know. If the screen was rammed, I get it, but it wasn't. But anyway, sorry. So yeah, 8 out of 10, I massively recommend. The next watch we have is the Odyssey next week, which is weird because everybody that hasn't watched it, well, not everybody, a lot of people who haven't watched it are being like, oh, this is going to be shit. And people that have watched it said, yeah, that was phenomenal. So yeah, I don't think you can sit and say it's going to be bad or whatever until you've actually watched it. You can say you have your doubts or whatever, but I don't think you can sit and say it's bad until you've watched it. But all I'll say is Nolan hasn't let us down yet. Christopher Nolan, yeah, there might be some films that you love and some films that you don't like as much. But for me personally, there's not a bad film that he's done. And I am very much ready for the Odyssey. And then a couple of weeks after that, it's Spider-Man. So there you go, visuals. A small, tiny bit of news, but really, Evil Dead Burn. Spoiler heavy review. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've already watched it, let me know what you think of the Evil Dead franchise and your opinions and thoughts on what I've just had to say and stuff. Put a part on that visuals. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll always keep being you, keep on, keep on.